Gonna start pulling apart this skidoo engine. It's got 9,700 miles on it, and I'm kind of excited to see how the whole thing looks. It ran perfectly when I pulled it out, but I just wanted to pull it out and do a rebuild on it for, you know, preventatively. So I'm excited to see what the inside looks like. Kind of exactly what I expected it to look like. Not too bad, but not great either, I guess. I mean, it's definitely time to either replate these jugs or do something with them. I got to check if they're out around yet, but you got some streaking. I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and the cross hatching is very faintly still there. So I these pistons are definitely worn. I think it could have gone another season. I never ended up checking compression. I wish I did. But you could see it has some skirt wear, and on the shove side, it looks like it's definitely pretty worn. Leading edge of the rings look a little rough. Definitely a little rough. Just came out of the washing machine, and it did a pretty good job of getting all the gaskets off and getting the outside pretty clean, and that's the goal I was getting at. And it looks like these are good to resurface. I mean, or hone out. They just look glazed. There's no fingernail catching stuff. Like, I don't know if you know the fingernail trick, but you're supposed to go in here with your fingernail, and anything that catches on your fingernail is theoretically over a couple thou as far as like ridging and stuff like that. The ridging at the top of the pistons where the piston stroke ends, or, you know, vertical scratches or anything like that. So it looks, any pitting, anything like that. It's important to clean off that top, very top ridge right there, like there to there, because before you make a decision, because it's usually a little carbon ring. That's where the piston rings stop. So you don't want to make a decision based on that ridge right there. As far as the bottom end goes in rotating assembly, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, you'll see you should have had in the past some coating that wraps all the way around. I'll probably show you a video of the new pistons when they come in, and you'll see that's worn off on this side, and then way down at the skirt it's really worn off, and then over here you got the same action going on, and that's pretty consistent to both sides. A little worse on the mag side. Kind of see what we're looking at here, the difference. That's a fresh hone. Might be a little bit of a low angle for the hone, but I still got to go over it some more, but you can kind of see what we got going on. Cylinders are freshly honed, and I'm going to start gapping the rings and prepping it to put it all together. So you're going to want a nice clean surface. I'm kind of selectively clean over here. The cardboard's dirty, but this paper towel is obviously clean. First thing you want to do when you're gapping these rings is you're going to want to kind of fit them into the bore. And then when you fit them into the bore, you're going to push them down with the piston just so you know they're square. We have 82 millimeter pistons, and the ring gap is supposed to be 0.4 to 0.5% of the overall diameter. So that's like 0.328 millimeters. I've got my feeler gauge right here. That's 0.33. And you're going to come in here and check it. I already checked these, but they're supposed to be just a little bit of drag, and that's on the low side, and you're going to do that for every single piston the exact same way. Rings are on. I don't think with this Pro X kit it matters which one's top and bottom. I mean, there's no distinction between the two, and honestly I think they're chamfered on both sides, so I don't think there's a distinction on upside down or not. But you do have to make sure you're lining these pins up with the ring gap. And what that basically does is it keeps you from landing the ring gap right over an exhaust port, and the arrow always goes towards the exhaust side, so it's going to go that way. I pre-put this clip in, and then basically going to lay it over and put the wrist pin through. I just matched the factory base gasket up with one of the three that this Pro X kit gave me. It was like 17,000, so I went for the 17,000. I guess one of these is the fast gasket or high compression gasket, maybe. You can kind of see that one thicker than the other. One thing you want to do when you're putting the jugs on is just, you're really just going to have a helper. And you're going to have to sit there and squeeze the pistons while the helper drops the jug on top. And then one thing I like to do is I like to spin it over and check through the ports and make sure none of the ring gaps are lining up. So while you're spinning it over, you should be able to see that there's no ring gap in either cylinder, and I already checked the other side. I dump some oil in there and I'm just spinning it over a few times just to see how it, make sure there's no scratches on the walls, nothing, no tight spots. This actually feels really good. Don't get concerned about that like little ticky, catchy part. That's all stator. It's just the magnets in the stator. Guess finally all these bolts go down to 21 foot-pounds. I ended up running them to 25 because I don't have a 3/8 torque wrench, and whatever. Ended up working. And she's all back together. I'm going to probably do a video on putting it all back in, and I'm going to go kind of quick because I already did a video on taking it out. One thing I didn't go over on the teardown side of this is tearing down the bottom end. I'm probably going to sell that as a core, so no reason to tear it apart. But I did examine the crank bearings on the 9,700 mile bottom end in another video. That's my Isoflex video, so go ahead and watch that if you're curious about what those looked like.